Hey, everybody, this is Joe Joseph, and this is the DailySheeple.com's News Shot. Defense One has a great piece today. A UN research group is saying that the risk of an accidental nuclear war is growing. Yeah, so as if, it's bad enough that they might do it on purpose. Now there's a growing risk of an accidental one. It says the warning comes as the Pentagon begins an extensive review of its nuclear arsenal on September 26th, 1983, shortly after midnight. The Soviet Oko nuclear early warning system detected 5 missiles launched from the United States and headed towards Moscow. Stanislav Petrov, a young lieutenant colonel in the Soviet Air Defense Force, was the young lieutenant on duty in the Sepikov 15 bunker that housed the Oko command center. Now, Petrov was the man in charge of alerting the Soviets about a nuclear attack, which would, of course, trigger the retaliatory strike, a la mutually assured destruction. And he determined that the Oko had likely malfunctioned and that the alarm was false. The Americans would not start World War III with a quintet of missiles, risking total annihilation. It was a daring judgment call, but he was right. And as the U.S. prepares to undertake a new nuclear posture, it continues, it says, the future direction of the nation's nuclear weapons, a report from the United Nations Research Institute, warns that the risk of a catastrophic error, like the one that took place that early morning in 1983, is actually growing. It's not shrinking. See, you'd think with today's technology, it would actually shrink, that you wouldn't have as much of a risk of nuclear war. One of the reasons why the United States nuclear defense, the silos still run on floppy disks, are because you can't really hack a floppy disk. They're not really connected to any sort of internet or any way in. So, sometimes that dial-back type of mentality is actually the safer way to go. I mean, you can say that about many things. But in dealing with stuff like this, you don't want anything like a Stuxnet to get in there and cause an accidental launch, something that this UN panel is saying is a growing risk. Now, apparently, there's a mandate by President Trump to actually review the whole U.S. Nuclear triad and modernize it. I mean, you're talking about a major undertaking, something that the military-industrial complex is just salivating over. Because I want to say it's got to be around $1 trillion. Easy, just to do what he wants to do. And then, of course, you have all of these rogue nations that have nuclear weapons or at least some sort of nuclear technology. North Korea doesn't necessarily need to have an ICBM in order to affect any major damage to the United States. They could sneak it into the United States. Heck, you could have our government false flag itself and then blame it on Kim Jong-un to justify the start of World War III or perhaps a concerted effort to go ahead and take over that country and unite Korea. I don't know, but all I can say is there's a lot of motivation. There's a lot of factors that go into this. And I got to tell you, the government doesn't have a good track record when it comes to being on our side. So just pay attention and we'll see what happens as the world inches closer to a greater risk of nuclear catastrophe. I'm Joe Joseph. This was the DailySheeple.com's News Shot. Feel free to subscribe to our newsletter today at thedailysheeple.com and feel free to comment below. Have a great day.